I'm Cynthia James, and this network is about changing lives one woman at a time. We are changing this world one woman at a time. We're changing communities, families, neighborhoods, one woman at a time, because this is the time that women are emerging. And I get the honor of introducing to you women that inspire me, women that are change makers, women that are absolutely on purpose and on fire. So I get to introduce you today to Stephanie Joy Williams. I have known her for a long time and we'll talk about that, but let me tell you who she is. She's a unique healer and a coach, and she uses her intuitive skills to help her clients level up into their best lives. She is a practicing Reiki master. She's also a certified health coach from the Institute of Integrative Nutrition in New York City. And she's also one of my freedom coaches, of which I'm eternally grateful. So, Stephanie, thank you so much for being here.
Very welcome. Thank you for having me.
And I want to talk to you because you're unique. You are building a business and have been, and you are what I call a parallelpreneur. You are working in one business that is investing to create and build the other business in extraordinary ways. So talk to us a little bit about what you're doing and where you've come from to get to this moment.
I am currently working full time in a law firm, but what got me here to this space is Hashimoto's, an autoimmune disease. And when I was first diagnosed, I didn't really know what to do. It was basically recommended I have my thyroid removed, and that felt wrong. And that's actually what catapulted me into learning all I could about the disorder, and also it just led me on a path of self-healing. So the short answer is that I healed the Hashimoto's myself, and I also I had a team. I had a regular doctor, I had integrative nutritionists, I had healers that helped me. So there were a lot of things that I used to get to the point where I no longer needed to take medication to get me to this point. So that's the short answer. Can go longer.
No, that's great. No, but that's great. So as you're in this healing process, right? Is something get tweaked in you to start learning more? Is that what happened?
Yes, because it was an intuitive knowing that came along. It started with changing my diet, but as I delved more into that, I began to understand it wasn't just physical; it was also emotional and spiritual. One thing would lead to another. So that's how I moved into energetic healing. And actually, when I started energetic healing, that's actually when my body started to change and that's when I noticed a change for the better in dealing with this disorder.
Right. So what was the turning point when you decided to take your own healing into becoming a coach and a healer for others?
One of the things that started for me was people would ask me about, or I would be talking about it and someone would say, "Oh, I have that," or "I know somebody who has that. Will you talk to them?" So over the course of time, I was talking to all women, actually, now that I think about it. I would talk to women about what I did. And what I found is that most, if not all of them, had no idea about the energetic side of healing. They didn't know about just the emotional integration work that I did with you. They didn't know about, coaching. They didn't know about Reiki. They didn't know about all those things that help to move emotions out of the body. And so that was actually a turning point for me when as women started coming to me, I'm like, oh, you know what? This is not well-known information. And so this is something I need to do to change, to help become part of a woman's healing team as she does her own work in healing her own autoimmune disorder.
Yeah, because there's a lot of autoimmune, Hashimoto's, Lyme. There's a lot going there,
Yeah,
and it has impact on the physical, the emotional, the spiritual. I mean, it has impact on all
yeah,
levels.
it does. Yeah, exactly.
So you've had a journey, and I want to talk about this because some people think, oh, I have a vision, and then I just leap into it and I create it, and but you have been evolving
Yeah.
into the coach and the healer that you are today. So can we talk a little bit about that journey?
Oh boy, the short answer for that one is a lot of it was just one foot in front of the other. One thing would lead to this, and then this would lead to that. I didn't have a plan of any sort. For instance, when it was an intuitive thing to take the IIN course, and that led me to you because
Mhm.
that's where I saw your class. And then once I got tied with you, then I, did your coaching. It was like just one thing would be present itself, and then something else would present itself. I was drawn to Reiki. I was getting a lot of Reiki treatment. I was drawn to it, and when the class came up, I took the class. It was just I was drawn or led one step at a time. So there was no roadmap for any of this. It was all just one step in front of the other, and that's how it progressed. It progressed very organically for me.
Yeah. And so were there any moments where you were scared or clueless or trying to figure it out?
How about the entire time? I'm still there. I mean, you're never really sure, it just these things come into your life and you resonate with them and you do them. So
Yeah, well, it's really interesting because everything that's been created in my life, I was clueless. There was something that dropped in and said, write this book or create this meditation. And so, what I want the women to know listening to this, it can be a circuitous route. It's not that it just drops in and goes, and these are the steps you take, and these are the dates you deliver. You have to trust that there's something guiding you. And so let's talk about your spiritual connection and the guidance you receive.
my guidance is my intuition. I don't know that I can say I rely on it, but I get uh, very strong nudging. It'll just stay with me. Oh, like you really need to do that, or a book will show up, or an email. It'll be things like that will present themselves. I'm trying to just think of an example. I can't right now. I don't want to take up time trying to think, but or I'll keep going back to that thing. It's like, okay, maybe you need to think about doing this. And then intuitively, the other thing is energetically, it feels right. That's just how I operate. I operate with how it feels. And if it's fitting into my schedule, because I work full time, so I'm doing all of this around working. But for me, it's more my intuition that's been guiding me. It's been part of my spiritual journey, part of my actual awakening that started back in 2012, 2013. So that's when, and I call to me, all of these things are magical. They're all magical things that I would never in any other way have come in contact with them. And so that for me is how it all happened.
Yeah, and I love that, and I love that what you're doing, what's evolved is a multifaceted kind of coaching where you get
Exactly.
to work with the different levels of people going through different things. And
Yes.
and so I want to, I guess I just want to ask you, what what do you think the greatest challenges for women today? What do you think is the biggest challenge for women to just step into their greatness and into their power?
I think one of the biggest things, and at least part of my own spiritual, I'll just speak from my own spiritual journey, is there's a term that says temet nose, which means know thyself. It's a Latin term because we're taught in this society to move away from ourselves when we really need to come back into ourselves, because that's where the gifts are. They're on the inside. So I think one of the biggest challenges of today as women is us really knowing who we are and why we do the things that we do. At least for me, that was my journey. I'm actually finding that even with a client I have now, who I challenged her to say to herself, "I love you," to herself in the mirror. And she was like, "I'm the last person I would say that to. You know, I'll do for everybody. I would never say that to myself." And yet, for her autoimmune issue, that's probably the crux of her disorder. The fact that she is putting everyone in front of herself, that she doesn't tell herself. And I was the same way. It's like I'm mirrored in this particular client. I had to learn to do that with myself, the mirror work, to telling myself that I love me, I'm precious, I'm worthy, all of those things. And we're moved away from that as women. We're taught to do for others and not for ourselves. And so I think for me, I think that's one of the biggest issues for women today.
Yeah, well, so do I. I mean, that not enoughness thing that we've all been enculturated with, is so deep. So I wanted to ask you, first of all, how do people find you? Because I want people to know about you, and especially people who have autoimmune or are parallelpreneurs and could use some guidance. How do people find you?
Well, I'm on Instagram, and my handle is at Stephanie Joy Williams. And there I'm talking about my autoimmune journey. I also have a website under the same name, www.stephaniejoywilliams.com, and that is Stephanie with a PH. And there I have actually a coaching package for autoimmune clients it's actually called the Multifaceted Healing Journey. And because it does take many facets, it's not just one thing that brings healing. There are many, many things that help to bring healing to the body. And so that's why I call it that. So that's where I am.
That's beautiful. Well, and I just want to say that whether it's autoimmune or it's something else, it's all multifaceted. There's not just one doorway you walk through for healing or transformation, so I just love that you're doing this, and I love that you're available to support people. I don't think people really know how deeply impacted people are in the world with autoimmune right now. I don't think people know, because it's not a big headline,
Right.
and when you're in the middle of a pandemic like we are, your immune system
Yeah,
becomes ultimately important.
exactly. Mary, I'm not even going to begin to tell you what I'm doing for my immune system. A lot.
Right.
I'll
Me
say
too.
that.
Me too. I'm pretty healthy, but I'm doing a lot too to just make sure that it stays high. So yeah. So I ask each person that comes on the show the same last question. So the question is, what do you think is the most important thing you can say to women about their awakening? How to awaken and live their best life?
Um, I think hmm, I think the thing about women awakening today is to be aware that this awakening is taking them to to their unique gifts. Each and every one of us has been blessed with a unique gift that we bring. And the lives that we live now with working and raising children and the technology and all of these things takes us away, I think, for many of us. I mean, some women have been really blessed to find their gifts, but again, it's a path. And so the awakening takes us to our gifts. And I think that's one of the biggest things that women need to know about their awakening. It's taking you, and it may involve some things that are painful, some transformative things, and those things are not easy. But they expose that part of you that maybe you did not even know was there. And that's where your unique gift is. So I think for me, that would be my answer for Women Awakening.
Yeah. Oh goodness, thank you so much. I mean, I agree, you know, and I love that you spoke about the fact that, you know, it's not all going to be rosy. I mean, there's valleys and there's peaks as you go through this, you know. I'm so grateful that you came here. I'm so grateful that you're showing up on the planet with your gifts and being willing to be in high service to others, because I really think that that's part of what we're all here to do is to support each other in our awakening and our growth and our health. So thank you for being here, Stephanie.
Thank you. It's been an honor to have been asked and an honor to be here. Thank you so much.
All right, ladies, thank you for being here. Please share this with other women. You know, these are bite-sized conversations that are inspiring for your heart and your soul. We put some new ones up every week. And so I look forward to seeing you again soon. Many blessings.